Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
Intuition has always been my compass, guiding me through life's turbulent seas, but no amount of intuition could have prepared me for the chilling undercurrent I began to sense in my marriage. It started subtly, with Jasper's sudden interest in taking his phone calls in the garage, and his abrupt silences whenever I walked into the room. Yet, over time, these small disturbances coalesced into a storm of suspicion. One late evening, I sat in my home office, buried in paperwork, when I heard Jasper's voice float down the hallway. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable, urgent and conspiratorial. Quietly, I tiptoed toward the living room, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and curiosity. I edged closer to the door, which was slightly ajar, and strained to listen. "Eleanor, you have to be more careful," Jasper hissed into his phone. "Nora is getting suspicious." I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Eleanor. Of course, it was Eleanor. She had always been a thorn in our marriage, a constant, nagging presence that I had tried to tolerate for Jasper's sake. Her manipulative ways and overbearing attitude were things I had learned to endure. But this was something altogether different. Unable to process the whirlwind of emotions, I retreated to the kitchen, needing the comfort of a familiar space. I busied myself with making tea, the mundane task grounding me as I replayed Jasper's words in my mind. My thoughts were interrupted by the buzz of my phone. It was Alan, my brother, and confident. "Hey, Nora. Everything okay?" Alan's voice was a balm, his concern palpable even through the phone. I hesitated, then decided to tell him everything. "Alan, something's wrong. I overheard Jasper talking to Eleanor. He sounded secretive, like they're hiding something from me." There was a pause, then Alan spoke, his voice firm. "We need to get to the bottom of this, Nora. I've had my suspicions about Eleanor for a while now. Let's meet tomorrow and figure out a plan." The next afternoon, we met at a quiet cafe downtown, away from the prying eyes and ears of our small community. Alan was already there when I arrived, his face etched with worry. "Nora," he greeted me, pulling me into a tight hug. "Tell me everything." I recounted the events of the previous night, the way Jasper's voice had sent chills down my spine. Alan listened intently, his expression darkening with each detail. I knew Eleanor was up to something. Alan muttered, more to himself than to me. "She's been acting strange too. Disappearing on weekends, avoiding questions. I think it's time we did some digging." We devised a simple yet effective plan. We would track their movements, gather as much information as possible, and piece together the puzzle of their deceit. Alan would focus on Eleanor, while I kept a close watch on Jasper. In the days that followed, I played the role of the dutiful wife, all the while observing Jasper with a keen eye. I noted the times he left the house, the length of his phone calls, and any unusual behavior. At the same time, Alan began shadowing Eleanor, documenting her activities and compiling a dossier of her suspicious behavior. One evening, as Jasper was leaving for a supposed late-night meeting, I decided to follow him. Heart pounding, I tailed his car at a safe distance, my palms slick with sweat. He drove to a dimly lit bar on the outskirts of town. From my parked car, I watched as he met Eleanor in the parking lot, their exchange animated and intense. The next morning, I confronted Jasper over breakfast. "Where were you last night?" I asked, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Jasper looked up from his newspaper, his expression guarded. "I told you, Nora. I had a meeting." "A meeting at a bar with Eleanor?" I countered, my eyes narrowing. His face paled slightly, but he quickly recovered. "Eleanor needed my help with something personal." "It's not what you think." "What do I think, Jasper?" I pressed, not letting him off the hook. "What exactly is going on between you and Eleanor?" He sighed, setting down his coffee mug. "Nora, you're being paranoid. Eleanor and I have always been close. You know that." but sneaking around and lying to me. That's not just being close, Jasper. That's betrayal. Jasper's phone buzzed on the table, and I glanced at the screen. It was a message from Eleanor. We need to talk. Urgent. I stood up, my decision made. This ends now, Jasper. I'm going to find out what's really going on, and if you're hiding something from me, there will be consequences. Without waiting for his response, I walked out of the kitchen, my resolve hardening with each step. Ellen and I were going to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. That evening, Ellen came over with a plan. We need to get into their emails and phones, he suggested. There's bound to be something in there that will give us the answers we need. I nodded, determination etched on my face. Let's do it. Under the cover of darkness, Ellen and I began our covert operation. We hacked into Eleanor's email first, finding a treasure trove of incriminating messages. There were discussions about financial transactions, plans for a secret getaway, and most damning of all, mentions of using my money to fund their schemes. We printed everything, compiling a thick folder of evidence. As we worked, a sense of betrayal washed over me, but alongside it, a growing resolve. Jasper and Eleanor thought they could outsmart me, but they were wrong. Ellen and I would make sure of it. The next morning, I confronted Jasper with the evidence. He tried to deny it, but the proof was irrefutable. His face contorted with anger and fear as I laid out the details of their betrayal. Nora, you don't understand, he pleaded. Eleanor needed help, and I. Save it, Jasper, I interrupted, my voice cold. You've been using me, taking advantage of my trust. This ends now. I walked away from him, my heart heavy but my spirit unbroken. I had a meeting with a divorce lawyer later that day, and I intended to reclaim my life from the wreckage of Jasper's deceit. As I left the house, I felt a sense of liberation. This was just the beginning. Ellen and I would uncover every secret, expose every lie. Jasper and Eleanor had underestimated us, and they would pay the price for their betrayal. The following weeks were a delicate dance of feigned normalcy and covert investigation. Jasper's mask of support was starting to crack, and my patience was running thin. His attempts to placate me with hollow reassurances only fueled my determination to uncover the full extent of his betrayal. Every interaction with him felt like a chess match, each move calculated and deliberate. One afternoon, as I was reviewing quarterly reports, my phone buzzed with a message from Ellen. Meet me at our usual spot. I've got something, it read. My heart quickened. Ellen's discoveries had been our lifeline, each piece of evidence bringing us closer to unraveling the tangled web Jasper and Eleanor had spun. We met at the secluded corner table of a quaint cafe, a place we frequented for its privacy. Alan's expression was grim, his brow furrowed with concern. Nora, he began, sliding a folder across the table, you won't believe what I found. I opened the folder, my eyes scanning the documents inside. Bank statements, credit card transactions, and email printouts, each one a testament to Jasper and Eleanor's duplicity. They had been funneling money into a secret account, using my earnings to finance their lavish escapades. Look at this. Alan pointed to a highlighted transaction. They've booked a trip to Hawaii. First-class tickets, luxury accommodations, the works. I felt a surge of anger and betrayal. They're using my money for this, I whispered, my voice trembling with rage. Alan nodded, his jaw clenched. And that's not all. Eleanor has been manipulating Jasper, convincing him that you'd never find out. They've been planning this for months. My mind raced, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Jasper's late-night meetings, Eleanor's secretive behavior. It all made sense now. They had been using me, exploiting my trust and hard work for their own gain. Over the next few days, Alan and I meticulously crafted our strategy. We gathered every piece of evidence, from financial records to incriminating emails, ensuring we had an airtight case. I also consulted with my lawyer, preparing for the legal battle that lay ahead. One evening, I returned home to find Jasper in the kitchen cooking dinner. The aroma of roasted chicken filled the air, a stark contrast to the bitterness I felt inside. "Hey, sweetheart," he greeted me with a smile that no longer reached his eyes. "I thought I'd make us a nice dinner. You've been working so hard lately." I forced a smile, playing along with his charade. "That's sweet of you, Jasper. I appreciate it." As we sat down to eat, I couldn't help but notice the forced enthusiasm in his voice, the way he avoided eye contact. He was trying too hard, and it only made me more suspicious. "So, how was your day?" he asked, cutting into his chicken. "Busy," I replied, choosing my words carefully. "I had a meeting with a client about a major project. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm excited." Jasper nodded, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. "That's great, Nora. I'm glad things are going well for you." I studied him, wondering how much longer he could keep up this facade. The tension between us was palpable, each of us aware of the other's secrets, but unwilling to break the silence. Later that night, as Jasper slept beside me, I lay awake, my mind racing with thoughts of our impending confrontation. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was ready. I had to be. The next day, I met Alan at the lawyer's office to finalize our plan. We went over the details, ensuring everything was in place for the confrontation. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Alan asked, his concern evident. "I have to be," I replied, my voice steady. "They've taken enough from me. It's time to take back control." That evening, I invited Jasper and Eleanor to dinner, a seemingly innocent gathering that masked my true intentions. As they arrived, I welcomed them with a smile, concealing the turmoil inside. "Thank you both for coming," I said, leading them to the dining room. "I wanted us to have a nice evening together." Jasper looked surprised but pleased, while Eleanor's eyes narrowed slightly, suspicion flickering across her face. As we sat down, I wasted no time. "I've been thinking a lot lately," I began, my gaze fixed on Jasper. "About our relationship, about trust, and about betrayal." Jasper's smile faltered. "Nora, what are you talking about?" I took a deep breath, steeling myself. "I know about the money, Jasper. I know about the trip to Hawaii, and I know you've been using me." Eleanor's face blanched, and Jasper's expression turned to one of shock and anger. "Nora, I can explain." "Save it," I interrupted, my voice cold. "I have all the evidence I need. Ellen and I have been tracking your every move. There's no denying it now." Eleanor's composure shattered. "You had no right to dig into our lives." "No right?" I shot back, my anger boiling over. "You've been stealing from me, lying to me, and manipulating Jasper. I have every right to know the truth." Jasper's face contorted with rage. "Nora, you don't understand. Eleanor needed my help." "I don't want to hear it," I said, standing up. "You've both betrayed me in the worst possible way. I'm done. I've spoken to a lawyer, and I'm filing for divorce. You'll be hearing from them soon." The room fell into stunned silence, the weight of my words sinking in. Jasper and Eleanor exchanged a panicked glance, realizing the gravity of their situation. As I walked out of the room, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. This was just the beginning. Jasper and Eleanor had underestimated me, but they were about to learn just how resilient I could be. The days following the confrontation were a whirlwind of activity and emotion. Jasper and Eleanor's betrayal had stunned deeply, but it had also ignited a fire within me, a resolve to expose their deceit and ensure justice was served. Alan and I spent hours meticulously organizing the evidence. Our lawyer, Sarah, was a formidable ally, her keen legal mind cutting through the complexities of the case with precision. We knew Jasper and Eleanor would fight back, but we were ready. One evening, I received an unexpected call from my boss, Mr. Harris. "Nora, I need to see you in my office first thing tomorrow," he said, his tone unusually serious. "Is everything all right?" I asked, a sense of unease creeping in. "We'll discuss it tomorrow," he replied before hanging up. The next morning, I arrived at the office early, my mind racing with possibilities. Mr. Harris greeted me with a grave expression, motioning for me to sit. "Nora, I've been reviewing your recent performance and the feedback from your clients," he began. "You've been doing exceptional work, especially considering everything you're dealing with personally." I nodded, unsure where this was leading. He leaned forward, his eyes meeting mine. "I want to promote you to head of the department. Your leadership and dedication have not gone unnoticed." I was stunned, struggling to process his words. "Thank you, Mr. Harris. This means so much, especially right now." He smiled warmly. "You deserve it, Nora. Congratulations." As I left his office, I felt a surge of triumph. Despite the turmoil in my personal life, my career was thriving. It was a reminder of my strength and capability, a testament to my resilience. Later that evening, Alan and I met to finalize our plans. We were about to set the final pieces in motion, ensuring that Jasper and Eleanor's deceit would be exposed publicly. "Are you ready for this?" Alan asked, his eyes reflecting a mix of determination and concern. I took a deep breath, nodding. More than ever. Our plan was straightforward yet effective. We had gathered enough evidence to not only secure my financial stability, but also to reveal Jasper and Eleanor's true colors to their friends and family. We decided to unveil everything at a family gathering, ensuring there would be no escape from the truth. The day of the gathering arrived, and the atmosphere was tense. Jasper and Eleanor arrived together, their confidence barely masking the underlying fear. They had no idea what was about to hit them. As everyone settled in, I stood up, my heart pounding in my chest. "I want to thank everyone for coming today," I began, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. "There's something important I need to share." Jasper and Eleanor exchanged uneasy glances, sensing the shift in the room's atmosphere. "Over the past few months, I've discovered some unsettling truths," I continued. "Jasper and Eleanor have been deceiving me, using my money for their own gain." Gasps and murmurs filled the room as I laid out the evidence, each piece a nail in the coffin of their lies. Alan stood beside me, his presence a comforting anchor. Jasper shot to his feet, his face red with anger. "This is outrageous, Nora. You're blowing things out of proportion." "Am I?" I countered, my voice cold. "The evidence speaks for itself, Jasper. You and Eleanor have been manipulating me, betraying my trust in the most profound way." Eleanor's facade crumbled, her voice trembling as she tried to defend herself. "We didn't mean for it to go this far, Nora. Please, you have to understand." "Understand?" I interrupted, my eyes blazing. "The only thing I understand is that you both took advantage of my kindness and generosity, but it's over now. I'm done being your pawn." The room fell into a stunned silence, the weight of my words sinking in. Jasper and Eleanor stood there, exposed and vulnerable, their schemes laid bare for all to see. But just as I thought the confrontation had reached its peak, an unexpected twist occurred. Eleanor's husband, Mark, who had been silent throughout the entire ordeal, suddenly stepped forward. "Eleanor, I've known about your affair with Jasper for months," he said, his voice steady but filled with sorrow. "I hired a private investigator to gather evidence, and I have everything documented." The room erupted into chaos, everyone talking at once. Eleanor's face turned ashen, her eyes wide with shock. "You, what?" she stammered, unable to process the revelation. Mark's expression hardened. "I've been waiting for the right moment to confront you both. And now, with Nora's courage, I see it's time to end this charade." Jasper looked like a deer caught in headlights, his confidence evaporating. "Mark, this isn't what you think." "It's exactly what I think," Mark interrupted sharply. "You and Eleanor have been living a lie, deceiving all of us. But no more. I'm filing for divorce." The room fell silent again, the weight of the situation sinking in. Jasper and Eleanor were left speechless, their worlds crumbling around them. As the gathering dispersed, I felt a sense of closure. The truth had been revealed, and justice was finally within reach. In the days that followed, the legal proceedings moved swiftly. With the evidence we had gathered, the case against Jasper and Eleanor was airtight. They faced financial penalties and the dissolution of their marriage, their carefully constructed lies unraveling completely. As for me, I focused on my new role at work, embracing the challenges and opportunities that came with it. One evening, as Alan and I sat together, reflecting on everything that had happened, he turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Nora, through all of this, I've realized something important," he said. "What's that?" I asked, curious. "Family isn't just about blood," he replied. "It's about loyalty, support, and standing by each other through thick and thin. And you, Nora, are my true family." Tears welled up in my eyes as I hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Alan. I couldn't have done this without you." As we sat there, the sun setting on the horizon, I felt a sense of peace. The road ahead was uncertain, but I knew I had the strength to face whatever came my way. With my career thriving and the support of those who truly cared about me, I was ready to embrace the future.